Hey y'all, I'm Nova, and this is going to be my sort of submission into Shawzzos top 5 builds. This is a modded build. A little unusual for me, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. There's a fair amount of jank going on here. I'm running on a PS4, my controller has stick drift, and I'm trying to record it using the PS4's like recording system, so all the videos are going to be about 15 minutes long. So it might take a couple parts, but without further ado, let's get into it. So I think where I want to start is over here on the left side of the build. And over here, we're doing a Minutemen playthrough. And a big part of the Minutemen for my version of the Minutemen is a lot of soft power. So here we have a donation station where settlers out in the wasteland who aren't necessarily a part of the settlement or a part of the middlemen or Minutemen in general can come up here and get some free clothes and some services rendered, or some services here, some free services. We have a decontamination arch that takes away any radiation for free that they can get use of, and a sink over here. It's used for our doctor here to wash her hands with, but you know, if you need some water in a pinch, you can get access to that. Speaking of, in here we have a bar to the left and a doctor's office to the right. We'll start off with the bar. It's a simple little bar. It's not like a traditional, like, you know, come in, sit down at the bar and get an order. It's one of those like walk up, get your food, and get out kind of situations. But yeah, moving on to the doctors to the right, we have our doctor's office. So normally what I do when I do builds is I build like a full-on doctor's office, like everything you've seen before. But in this instance, what I wanted to do was kind of role play it out and say that our doctor isn't necessarily like a medical doctor, but more like a chemist or a biologist or something of the like. And she just happens to know enough about medicine. And so what she's really doing here is conducting research in this room. But citizens and settlers come in from the Commonwealth, and she'll treat them for a little bit of money for herself. And we also pay her to help her conduct her research and to be a doctor for some of the citizens. It's kind of the role play of it all. And we've got the dual Brahmin heads as the mount, or the symbol for this little section here. It seems fitting, you know, you have the food and the doctor, the two heads. But yeah, so leaving our front door, we come back out and we have the deterrent for anybody to attack us. We got 2 missile launchers and 2 spotlights and a guard sitting up front, so if anybody tries anything down here, you know, like trying to rob the bar or hurt the doctor or something like that, you know, put a stop to it. Moving on, we have the dining area for the settlers bar, and the giant trash pile I cannot delete or get rid of, so our roleplay that we've done here is that the settlement has very kindly asked people to stop throwing away their trash here, but people have not done that, and so it's just kind of become a part of the settlement. Continuing on, yeah, we have the dining area, this little picnic table. Let me know what you think of this pavilion, because I really can't decide if I like it or not. I really like variation in height, and you'll see that a lot throughout the build. I've gone to great lengths to make sure that there's a lot of variation in texture and asset usage and height of objects. And this is another one of those instances where it's pretty much just here for variation of height, but I don't know if I really like it. Over here we have sort of like a free section, you know, a place for settlers to cook if they're not getting food over there. Some mutt fruit for people to grab and eat if they can't afford any food, and then a warm barrel for you to hang out by. Warm your hands. Do the thing. Yeah. We'll go back around here, over here to the dining section. This is personally one of my favorite parts of the build. So I've set up this swing set so that when you push it, it swings in the direction that the flags flow and the windmills blow, kinda. sort of implying that we have a general breeze coming from this direction. I don't know. Every time I come to this build, I always push the swing set. Coming over here, we have really low walls, so this is kind of playing into what I was talking about before of I really like to do variations of heights and variation of lights too. You'll see that as well. But over here, this is a portion of the wall that I've intentionally made jump overable. The idea is that if something happens over here, the main idea is that I like the aesthetic of having low or like having great variation in the wall. But the explanation I've come up with for that is that if any trouble happens over here, in order for the guards to get down without jumping over that wall, they would have to run all the way around to the front gate. And this way, they just hop over this wall. Moving along, we have some modded assets that I've turned into sort of like a bunker portion of the wall section. Really cool. It's really nice to get access to these modded assets. I'm used to playing in a relatively unmodded or lightly modded high immersion type of style, and so I don't often do these assets because it sometimes can kind of break the immersion with certain assets. But in this instance, I think it's really nice, and I've been really enjoying having a wider range of stuff to play with. But yeah, coming back around, we have our main gate. We'll close that for right now because we're just going to do the walls for right now. But yeah, we have our main gate, some more wall variation using things like dressers and stuff like that instead of wall pieces to just keep it looking nice and varied. We got our Minutemen flags. This is a barracks that's right up against the portion of the wall. You can see some bedding in there and stuff. So if any attack happens, the soldiers can get up and react quickly. Here we have a portion of the wall that's been destroyed, and while the repair process is, we put in a ticket, but while we're waiting on the ticket to come through, we just stuck a turret here. And so, in the meantime, moving around, we have a couple more turrets on the walls facing in this direction, and then another guard tower. Moving back around, we have something that I really like to do in my builds. So as far as the game goes, settlers or people who are attacking the settlement are going to spawn along this road. And so what I've done is in medieval castle building, you'll have one section of the wall that's highly defended. In this case, it's using turrets, but like in medieval warfare, it'd be like where you put your ramparts and places your guards can walk. And then you'll have another section of the wall that's like incredibly defended. The biggest portion of the wall, the thickest part of the walls, sections that are purposely designed to trap invaders and stuff like that. And the idea is that you dissuade anybody from attacking over here and force people to attack from this section so that you can consolidate resources, because manning an entire system of walls takes a lot of resources, but in this case you can just force them to attack from over here. And so I've done that over here by making the largest portion of walls that you'll see on this sort of back corner section. We've got another turret down here as another little form of defense, but the main dissuading part is the gatehouse on this side of the walls. So we have our guard up there. Hello guard. And then we have our gatehouse here, and if you look up, you'll notice that there's a section where the guards can drop heavy objects down, stab with spears, attack with swords, shoot with guns. There's a little sign here that says hello. If you're being welcomed into the settlement, the doors will open and you say hello. And if you're not being welcomed into the settlement, the guard will tell you to look left. And the turrets will turn on and kill you. Oh, also I should explain, I've installed a Christmas mod, so this build in particular has a bunch of Christmas lights and decorations from the Creation Club that I've been playing around with and using for the first time here. So, not usual for me to use these assets, but still pretty cool. I think I like them. Moving on from that, we have the windmills. Now, the windmills is another modded asset that I saw it and I was like, well, I simply must. It took forever to orient them in a way where the wings weren't clipping with each other and they were semi-pointed in the same direction-ish. But I think it turned out really nice. I really like it. It adds a beautiful silhouette to the build. They're the tallest part of the build in the far left corner, so when you look at it, it's just got I just really like it a lot. I do hate how close together they are, but there's not much you can do about that when you have a build this small. Moving on, we have the second part of the guardhouse, or the gatehouse. Extends over here a little bit. We have these assets that let us create structure support, so that we've done that to just kind of help explain how something so heavy is dangling out so far. Got a little bit of metal assets being used here, something we haven't seen on the walls yet. Just those regular like prefabs stuck around like the miscellaneous tab walkways. And then we got some concrete blocks that are blocking a shopping cart that's been kind of wedged in there. And on the other side is a cannon. I figure, you know, you're the Minutemen, you have access to all these like old school weaponry, like cannons and artillery and stuff like that. And so it was just something they had laying around as like my lore, and they brought it over, added it to the walls, and now if anybody attacks from this direction, they can just shoot off a cannon. Right next to it, we have another asset for these guys, and I figured since they're in the area, I'll use them in putting it on the wall. Continuing around, the wall extends a little bit further, still staying super tall, and then we get to probably one of my favorite guardhouses. It looks like the guard is patrolling the outsides of the wall and definitely didn't clip through it. But yeah, I really like this guardhouse. It's definitely it's one of the smaller ones, but I've been enjoying building smaller, just trying to see how small I can get. But continuing around, some fresh assets that you haven't seen before, bringing back, and some old ones, bringing back the sandbags from the front of the wall. Carrying on, you can see our smelter from over the wall. We'll get to that in a second. But, you know, some more missile turrets that are strategically placed, and I'll point that out in a second too. Next to our water purifiers and another little guard bunker. The wall continues around, and we have a little utility door for people who are working on the water purifiers and stuff to come through. When you walk through, there's a turret right there, and that missile turret is able to shoot right here as well. So it's still a pretty defended corner. Definitely not a gap in the defenses, for sure. Walk away whistling. But yeah, and that brings us back around to our front of the, or where we started. Back at that little soft power section. So yeah, I'm gonna stop this recording here. I gotta play along with the PS4 recording system. So hopefully this came out well. It's all done in one take, no edits, because I'm on that Scorsese shit. What can I say? But yeah, I'll bring us around to where we'll start the next part of the video. Going inside the front gate.